got plumbed in. It's coming tomorrow, definitely. I hope the audio's not terrible, but obviously working off my phone, not ideal, is it? Still, it's better than a boot up the arse to tide you over until tomorrow. Hang on, I need a drink. Didn't think of that. Yeah, hope all's well. Truly ridiculous day. Plague Marine, how are you doing? Truly ridiculous day of absurd political theatre across the pond. I obviously really keep an eye on American politics because I am an American. I might not talk like one. I might sound like an American with Down syndrome and a drink problem, but I am an American. I can't believe what's gone on today. If you've took any notice across the pond, I'm not doing UK politics tonight because frankly it's been a bit boring, hasn't it? Probably because they're all sat on their arse doing the square root of fuck all, except drinking. I read that the bars were still functioning, so that's annoying. So not much has gone on in the UK. Scotland's still a shit show, but I want to concentrate on the United States because it's just been farcical, absolutely farcical. I can't believe how much money they're spending on what is essentially a party political broadcast, right? That's what the Biden inauguration is. It's completely ridiculous to suggest that what went on week before last was an insurrection. I haven't been making content, so I want to talk about this briefly because, yeah, it was over a week ago, but it's important to get this across, right? Nice plaque, yeah, good that, innit? Found that in a repack box when I was sorting through my gear. So basically, nobody who was at the Capitol building when that, what would you call it, riot, right? I dispute words like that because I'm an old-fashioned fella. Riots is when massive amounts of shit are on fire and hundreds of fucking people end up in the hospital. I don't think you'd even call it a full-blown riot, me. It was more like a civil disobedience. That wasn't an insurrection. I seen AOC, fucking drama queen with teeth like a witch doctor's necklace. I seen her gobbing off on Twitter saying, oh my God, we could have been killed. I was going to try and do an impression there, but I haven't got teeth like a dead sheep, so I can't do a very good AOC impression. Saying, oh my God, we could have been killed. You couldn't. You couldn't. I haven't seen much content on YouTube with people calling this out, but that wasn't, by any logical definition, any military intelligence personnel, any people who actually know what an insurrection looks like, that wasn't an insurrection. That was a few thousand people who got overexcited because, as Terry Pratchett, one of my favourite authors to quote, famously written, an angry mob is only as intelligent as its most stupid member, right? That's why mobs aren't very fickle, because when humans get in a big gang, monkey-brained creatures that we are, we're very, very susceptible to groupthink. I've seen it myself, I guess I've even done it myself, when you're in the military, behave in a way that you probably wouldn't when you were by yourself and you're being a bit more genteel. Somebody calls naked bar when you're at a crowded pub in Norway, and the next thing, everybody's got the cock out, including me, who frankly, armed with a AAA battery for a penis, not really into naked bars. It's a bit embarrassing, yeah? If I was packing a 10-incher or something that looked like a fucking can of Red Stripe, maybe I would be happier getting my balls out in public. But I do it anyway, even though I'm a bit trepidatious, because that's what groups do. Groups are a bit stupid. So what happened was, a bunch of fucking people rocked up at the Capitol, pissed off, not because particularly of what Trump said. He's not the best orator, is he? It's a bit much to suggest. You've been calling him a fucking retard for the last 4 years. Now you're suggesting he's some sort of genius visionary, an orator of legendary repute, and he's somehow managed to indoctrinate a bunch of people into carrying out an insurrection. It didn't happen. He's not a very good speaker. He's not particularly charismatic. It was a bunch of people turned up to protest because there was, and there still is, hundreds of different pieces of evidence of clear fraud, proven fact. It's not my opinion, it's a fact. You can see them. Go check out Fox News, any of the right-wing media, Project Veritas. There is hundreds, probably thousands, of documented cases of people cheating. Cheating, that's what it is. Now, is that enough to have affected the outcome of the election? Maybe not, maybe not. I'm not hardcore about any of that stuff, fence-sitting arse-white that I am. I'm not saying that that Biden definitely cheated the election. Maybe he would have squeaked it anyway. But it looks like there was a shit ton of votes for Trump tossed out the fucking window. And after the insanity of the last 4 years, also use your common sense. Even if you hadn't seen any evidence, even if Project Veritas wasn't a thing, even if you hadn't seen YouTube videos of what's gone on, use your brain. They've been talking about the bloke like he their own term, literally Hitler. If you're running against literally Hitler, do you think you could maybe square that circle in your head and make cheating moral? Do you think you could do that? I think I could. If I was convinced Trump was as evil and detestable as they say he is, I think maybe I'd bend my principles a little bit. So even without looking at the evidence, you could say it's pretty logical that there's going to be been some cheating, right? Just ignoring the evidence, ignoring all of the reports, Project Veritas stuff where you've got a woman saying, yeah, fuck, I cheated. I got thousands of votes for Biden. It's happened, definitely. What's in dispute is, was it enough to swing the election? Maybe it wasn't. Again, I'll meet them halfway. Maybe it wasn't. I'm not saying Biden's an illegitimate president. And to be fair, right, these things are always close. He obviously was going to get 70, 80 million votes or whatever he got, or thereabouts. Maybe they just tacked a few million on. Probably would have still won anyway. But the point is, those fucking people turned up at the Capitol. It was like a party atmosphere. Jamiroquai was walking around with his top off, yeah, showing everyone his Chad tattoos and his hairy nipples. It was like a party atmosphere. Everyone was having a crack, bit of bants, and then the mob mentality asserted itself when a few people started throwing shit, and you got, fuck it, let's go and pose for photos in Nancy Pelosi's office. Let's wander around with a lectern. I mean, to suggest that, seriously, I can't believe I have to point this out. No one seems to have made the point. To suggest that was an armed insurrection is laugh out loud funny. Laugh out loud funny. Do you know what something like an armed insurrection would look like? At least a handful of scary looking military style equipped men pepper potting through the corridors, unloading magazines into people. 2 fucking guys hit Charlie Hebdo. You want to see some scary armed conflict going on a tiny scale? Google the Charlie Hebdo shooting. Have a look at the footage of a paltry 2 ISIS twats pepper potting down the street in Paris, rinsing a police car with automatic fire from an AK-47, executing a wounded copper, blowing his face off while he's on the pavement. That is something akin to what you would expect from an armed insurrection. Get me 2 guys doing something akin to that, and maybe I'll go, okay, you could call that an insurrection. Me, by myself, my haggard, ageing, somewhat saggy, 40-year-old physique, with a set of webbing on and a rifle, would have done a better job of performing a solo armed insurrection on the Capitol building than those fucking, what were they? Party-going, overly excited, I'm going to pose for hilarious photographs with my feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, knobheads. That wasn't an armed insurrection. There was no, I mean, Did you even see anyone firing a rifle at a police officer or at an elected official? It looked nothing like an insurrection. It was a stupid fucking protest that went awry because a few twats started throwing things and they went, fuck it, let's pile in and get some comedy photos. It was nothing like an armed insurrection. AOC, lying, goofy, tusk-wielding hypocrite that she is, knows for a fact that there was no danger to her life. Oh my God, we could have been killed. Bullshit. You were ringing pizzas, tossing it off, safe in the knowledge. If it was an armed insurrection, why did the woman who got her fucking head blown off not even have a weapon? She didn't even have a handgun. And knowing something about weapons expertise, you're not going to get very far with a handgun if you're trying to launch an armed insurrection. She didn't even have a pistol. And she got her fucking head blew off. An unarmed woman. And this is the armed insurrection. Do me a favour. Charlie Hebdo is what something akin to an insurrection might look like. Scary, masked, black-clad, AK-47, webbing belt, fast magazine changes, automatic fire, vittling up the police cars. That's what something like an armed insurrection looks like. That wasn't it. It was a party atmosphere, comedy selfies, everyone on Twitter. That's it. It's not an armed insurrection, right? So this whole thing today, to see it, where they're pretending that they need to make Washington DC look like Baghdad. I went to Baghdad. That's what Washington DC looked like today. Checkpoints everywhere, armoured vehicles, automatic weapons, National Guardsmen, fucked. Completely out of... There's no requirement for that at all. Flies in the face of the military intelligence community. I've read every story I could today. There's been no credible threats. And I'll put my own fucking eyebrows on it now. Although no, I'm not going to put my eyebrows on it. On the off chance I'm wrong. And I'm definitely not going to Robocop it. But what I will say is I'll put my credibility on the line and say, if a major assault takes place at Biden's inauguration, I will be absolutely astounded. I'm almost tempted to Robocop it. I'm almost tempted to say, fuck it, I will nail my testicles to this kitchen table. That's how confident I am. Because what we're doing here is tyrannising the American people for a piece of expensive political theatre, a party political broadcast, because what they want to do is create this narrative that all of the Trump voters are fucking vermin, scum, terrorists, armed insurrectionists. No, they aren't. No, they aren't. They were pissed off, just like the Democrats were pissed off when their guy lost and Trump won. Everyone's pissed off. Everyone's annoyed. But none of them, nobody accused the Democrats. Trump wasn't going, oh my God, I could have been killed. And there was protests for fucking 4 years. There was riots for 4 years. There was Molotov cocktails. There was, 25 deaths during the last few months of BLM riots? Nobody called that anything more than what it was. Pretty large-scale civil disobedience as a result of George Floyd's murder. And, well, if you call it a murder, again, even that I would dispute, right? George Floyd's unlawful killing, to use the British parlance. Of course, he shouldn't have had a bloke kneeling on him for 10 minutes, but I don't think it was a murder, because he probably didn't think the guy's heart was going to explode, did he? The whole thing is a farce. It's not an armed insurrection. There isn't a major threat. The CIA, FBI, and even, I guess, foreign intelligence agencies, there's been nothing about them saying, listen, we reckon there's a fire team of hardcore white supremacists kitted out with fucking big 50s on trucks, and they genuinely make a good go at killing the new president. Nobody thinks that's going to happen. They were annoyed. They have a right to be annoyed. It looks like the election was a bit dodgy. But nobody thinks it's serious. And everybody knows it's not serious. Everybody's too fat and comfortable. You want to get full-blown civil disturbances like, I'm not talking like these BLM riots, I'm talking like hardcore, willing to take a bullet in the face to put your man on the throne. You want to get that shit when you're living in real scummy, well, your entire life's in ruins, right? Only when your children are starving to death and there's no electricity are you going to get people willing to take a bullet in the face to make a political point? America's not there yet. Thankfully, America's not there yet. You're going to get more civil disobedience, much more arguing between Republicans and Democrats. It might get pretty rabid, but you're not going to see fucking a company of tooled up blokes assaulting the Capitol. It didn't happen then, it's not going to happen tomorrow, and it's not going to happen in the foreseeable future. Things need to get much, much, much worse before you see shit like that. So all they're doing here is spending tens of millions of dollars tyrannising the general public in America to make a cheap political point. They know there's no threat. They know there's not going to be an insurrection. They know it wasn't an insurrection, and they know there isn't going to be one. You're going to get more chuntering from pissed off Republicans, and they have a right to chunter. But it's a farce. And I can't believe they're putting free men, women and children through that, making it look like they're living in Baghdad with fireworks, right? They've got a nice firework display and a light show, but there's tanks everywhere. It's farcical. Every Democrat on Capitol Hill knows it's farcical, probably all the Republicans as well. It's ridiculous. There is no Al-Qaeda active. There is no ISIS threat. The white supremacists they keep going on about are in paltry numbers. Like I keep saying, how many fucking blokes are in the KKK? Seriously. I've been talking about it for ages. Got an educated country with a liberal-minded education system. How many people are actually hardcore terrorist leanings, white nationalists? It's got to be, what, 5 figures, tops. Tops. And they talk about them as if they are like Al-Qaeda and ISIS merged into a super group, right? It's all a joke. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. It's an expensive party political broadcast at the expense of not just the American taxpayer, but American civil liberties. And I think it's absolutely disgraceful. I don't think it'd happen here. I don't think you'd get them just making a cheap point. Keir Starmer saying, oh, there's hardcore BNP types who don't want to see Sir Keir made the Prime Minister. Let's put fucking 1,000 Marines on the street outside Downing Street and a few tanks. I don't think we'd go that far. But the Democrats have lost all credibility with me. And I'm still a registered Democrat, me. The only politician I ever gave money was Tulsi. But they've completely lost the plot. Ever since Trump, they've lost the plot. Trump derangement syndrome is a thing, definitely. And as a centrist, liberally minded chap, it sickens me. Like, I mean, he's a good example, right? I'm not religious. I've got no interest in any of that shit. Fucking, did you read about the My Pillow guy? The My Pillow guy, right? Because he voted for Trump and he likes him. Now they've all said, oh, you're not allowed to sell your product anymore. They're like trying to fuck up his website. They're taking his pillow out of Macy's and shit. Like, honest to God, if you're a Democrat and that type of shit doesn't alarm you, you want to give your fucking head a good shake. Because I don't know, what would you make of that? It stuns me that it's left to people like me. I'm not a hardcore Republican. I'm an atheist. I'm not interested in religion. I've got no time for any of that shit. And I'm defending this Bible-thumping My Pillow guy because he's just a businessman who happened to vote the wrong way, and the Democrats in America think it's acceptable to fuck his life up, fuck his business up, fuck his website up, stop letting him sell his product in Macy's because he voted for someone who you don't like. Seriously, I despise the Labour Party. But if Alistair fucking, what's his name? I was going to say Alistair Brownlee because he's the Middlesbrough commentator. Alistair Darling or Alistair, that shithead who lied with Tony Blair. If that guy was selling products, he made his own business and he was selling fucking, I don't know, cards in newspapers to pensioners. You know, my cards. These are the best fat old man's elasticated cards you can buy. And then all of a sudden, the Conservatives leaned on business people, Jeff Bezos, Get rid of that. Get the My Fat Old Elasticated Cords off Amazon. Get it off eBay. Close his website down. Why? Oh, well, because he voted for someone we don't like. What world are you living in? What world are you living in when you think that's acceptable? Seriously, anyone who's a Democrat, just tell me. A fellow Democrat. Because when you're English, I've said this many times, a British Conservative pretty much is like an American centrist, right? Our Conservatives are fucking liberal compared to like American Democrats. Never considered myself Republican. But the last 4 years have broken me. It's like you're forcing me to constantly defend people that I have no natural affinity with. And that whole Mike Lindell thing is just criminal. Criminal. Poor bastard. He voted for someone and campaigned a bit for someone that you don't like, so let's annihilate his business. Absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. Where's all the twats who always go, oh, well, I might disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Fuck off, you lying bastard. You lying bastards. The Liberals. I'll defend to the death your right to say it. No, you fucking won't. No, you won't. That fat Baptist guy voted for someone you didn't like, and he's not voting for a fringe party. He's not voting for, like, you know, the BNP. It's not like the KKK have ran a fucking political candidate. He's voted for the official, one of the biggest parties in America, the Republican Party. And because you don't like it, fuck his business, fuck his employees, fuck his website, fuck his distribution network, fuck him. Why? Well, he voted for someone we don't like. Oh, who? Who did he vote for? Someone really weird? No, the fucking second biggest party in the whole country. Yeah, those guys. If you don't think that's massively fucked up, I want to know what your political leanings are. Seriously. Everyone should be defending Mike Lindell at this point. Everyone. Everyone. AOC should be defending him. She calls herself a liberal. What's more liberal than defending a free man without a criminal record, as far as I'm aware? He's never been convicted of anything. A free man, a businessman, who voted for a guy you don't like, a legitimate president who was a president for fucking 4 years, and they're just fucking in the salt mines he goes. I think that is absolutely shocking. I think this entire debacle tomorrow is a total joke. Nobody believes any of it. AOC knows it's bollocks. She never felt like she was going to get killed because nobody was fucking tooled up, properly going for her. One guy putting some effort in with a rifle and a set of chest rig on would have done more damage than that fucking insurrection. So everything about this is a farce. Biden knows it, AOC knows it, the Dems know it, the squad knows it, Pelosi knows it, everyone. Unbelievable. Like I said, if you consider yourself even remotely liberal, you should be picking up the torch for Mike Lindell, because that is a fucking disgrace. I would defend Jeremy Corbyn if he was selling vegan soy milkshakes, yeah, and they stopped him because they don't like what he said about Castro, right? I would be defending Jeremy Corbyn. You can't turn people into lepers just because you don't like the politics. It's fucking disgraceful. Anyway, I think that'll do for now. I'm running a bit low because I haven't got any... I haven't got the ability to read more stories or anything. Hopefully I'll get my internet back tomorrow. I'll do something much more well-planned with some sources and, you know, a bit of screen caps and everything. But yeah, seriously. Oh yeah, like the video. Cheers, Jackie Chan. Probably not the real Jack. Oh no, Chan. Yeah, probably not the real one, right? I don't think he watches. The Angry Bootneck. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully I'll be back up and running tomorrow. All right. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for supporting me while I've been on radio silence for the last month. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. All right. Cheers.